So here we're starting with chapter 8, section 1. And that's about solving quadratic equations. Now, this first section will be solving quadratic equations by means of square roots and something called completing the square. Now, a quadratic equation involves the term x squared. Here's the simplest quadratic. X squared equals c. Solve that. Well, okay. Transpose the c. X squared minus c equals 0. Think of c as the square root of c squared. X squared minus root c squared equals 0. And this is a difference of squares, which we can factor. The difference of squares is the difference times the sum. X minus root c times x plus root c equals 0. Now, since a product being 0 means one of the factors is 0, either x minus root c is 0 or x plus root c is 0. In this case, x is root c. In this case, is x minus root c. So we write that for short as x plus or minus root c. This is a plus or minus sign. So for example, x squared equals 49 means that x equals plus or minus root 49, which is 7. So x is 7 or x is minus 7. And that makes sense. 7 squared is 49. Negative 7 squared is also 49. Here we have, let's solve 2x squared equals 100. All right, first we divide by 2. X squared equals 50. Then we use the square root rule solution. So that x is plus or minus root 50. Now root 50, its largest square factor is 25. So it's plus or minus root 25 root 2. Root 25 is 5. So x is plus or minus 5 root 2. Both the plus and the minus solve this equation. Here's a more complicated one. Instead of just 3 times x minus 2 squared equals 36. So we need to go through a few more steps. First, we divide both sides by 3 and get x minus 2 squared equals 1/3 of 36 is 12. So x minus 2 squared is 12. Then we take plus or minus square root. So x minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 12. And then we transpose the 2. X is 2 plus or minus root 12, which is root 4 root 3. And root 4 is 2. So x is 2 plus or minus twice root 3. Now, there's a little trick here. We have x squared plus 6x. We want to add another term here to make it a square of a sum. Now, the rule is this. If you have x plus half of b, square that. And you go through all the arithmetic. You get x squared plus bx plus b squared over 4. Now, if you only have the x squared and the bx, you want to know what to add here and what you get here. Here's what you do. Take b, half of that is b over 2, that goes here. Square that, that's b squared over 4, that goes here. So for example, and going from here to something like this is called completing the square. X squared plus 6x plus what equals what squared? Well, we write down x squared plus 6x. Divide this 6 by 2 and get a 3, that goes here. Square that, you get a 9, that goes here. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 is the square of x plus 3. Now, complete the square like y squared plus 7y plus what equals what squared. We start with y squared plus 7y. Take half of that 7, that's 7 halves. Square the result, that's 49 fourths. The 7 halves goes here, the 49 fourths goes here. Y squared plus 7y plus 49 fourths equals the square of y plus 7 over 2. Again, both of these are example of this identity. Now I can use completing the square plus solution by square roots to solve quadratics. For example, here's a quadratic equation. X squared minus 12x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, now first what we do is we want to move this one over to the other side. So we can so we have an x squared minus 12x equals negative 1. Now we can complete the square. We start with negative 12 divide that by 2 and get negative 6. Square the result, gets 36. And add that to both sides of the equation. And both sides to keep it algebraically balanced. On the left side, get x squared minus 12x plus 36. On the right side, get negative 1 plus 36. Now this on the left is x minus 6 all squared. X squared minus 12x plus 36 is x minus 6 all squared. Negative 1 plus 36 is 35. So we have x minus 6 squared equals 35. Now it's a matter of taking square roots and transposing. Square roots, you get x minus 6 equals plus or minus root 35. Add 6 to both sides, get x equals 6 plus or minus root 35. And these are the two solutions to this quadratic equation. This one here, it's a little more complicated because there's a 12 in front of the t squared. And that's annoying because our completing the square only works for one t squared. Okay, so what we'll do is from this equation, we'll divide through it by 12. So we get a 1 t squared for the leading term. The next term is minus 5 twelfths t. The next term is minus 3 twelfths or minus 1/4. And 1/12 is 0, 0. So t squared minus 5 twelfths t minus 1/4 is 0. Now first we transpose the 1/4 to the other side. So t squared minus 5 twelfths t equals 1/4. Now we complete the square. We take half of this coefficient. Half of negative 5 twelfths is negative 5 24ths. Square the result, you get 25 over 576 and add to both sides. When you get that, you get t squared minus 5 twelfths t plus 25 over 576 equals 1/4 plus 25 over 576. This left side is a completed square. It'll be t minus 5 twelfths. This, that is t minus 5 twelfths. 24ths here. And then this, okay, I cheated and ran to a calculator, but it's easy enough. It's 169 over 576. Then we have t minus 5 24ths, that's squared, equals 169 over 576. So next step is we take square root plus or minus a square root. So t minus 5 24ths equals plus or minus 169 over 576. Now this square root is just 13 24ths. Add 5 24ths to both sides, you get t equals 5 24ths plus or minus 13 24ths. And if you run to a calculator, it's the fraction notation, you get t with a minus, you get t is negative 1/3. With a plus, you get t equals 3/4. Here we have 4p squared plus 2p plus 3 equals 0. As before, we want to have a 1 coefficient for p squared. So we divide throughout by 4. I get p squared plus 2/4 p, or which is a half p, plus 3/4 equals 0. Now transpose the 3/4. P squared plus a half p equals negative 3/4. Okay. Now we complete the square. Take half of this one coefficient of a half. That's 1/4. Square the result, that's 1/16. Add 1/16 to both sides. Let's get p squared plus a half p plus 1/16 equals 1/16 minus 3/4. Now this left side is the square of p plus 1/4. That's completely the square. Square of p plus 1/4 equals negative 11/16. Now here's where we have to take, now we take square roots. We get p plus 1/4 is plus or minus negative 11/16. Now this negative, its square root is I. That's why we had this whole complex numbers thing in the previous section. So it's plus or minus I times root 11 times root 16, which is 4. P plus 1/4 equals plus or minus I root 11 over 4. Then you subtract 1/4 from both sides and get p equals negative 1/4 plus or minus I times root 11 over 4. These are the two solutions of this quadratic, and these are two complex number solutions. here we have p squared plus 2p plus 2 equals 0. Well, first we subtract 2 from both sides and get p squared. Spelling what?
Yes.
Question. You have a question?
No question. No question.
I just heard a noise.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. P squared plus 2p equals negative 2. So
Thank you.
we complete the square. Half of this 2 is 1. Square that is 1. Add 1 to both sides. So p squared plus 2p plus 1 equals, this should be a 1 plus negative 2. I really should change that. 814. 4, 1 minus 2 rather than negative 1 plus 2. My apologies. This is erroneous. Oh, right. Right. I get honked. All right. So, well, this should be 1 minus 2, which is a negative 1. P plus 1 squared equals negative 1. All right. Square root of both sides. P plus 1 equals plus or minus root negative 1, which is plus or minus I. P plus 1 equals plus or minus I. Subtract 1 from both sides, and you get P equals negative 1 plus or minus I. Now for some examples from the book. Same basic stuff. T squared plus 20t plus 25. All right, move the 25 over, negative 25. T squared plus 20t equals negative 25. Now, complete the square. Half of this 20 is 10. Square that is 100. Add to both sides. T squared plus 20t plus 100 equals 100 minus 25 is 75. This quadratic on the left, it's a completed square of t plus 10. T plus 10 squared equals 75. Take square root. T plus 10 equals plus or minus root 75. Pull out a factor of 20 root 25. That's 5 root 3. Subtract the 10. T is negative 10 plus or minus 5 root 3. X squared plus 8x plus 6 equals 0. Transpose the 6. X squared plus 8x is negative 6. Okay, to complete the square, we take half of this 8, that's a 4. Square that, that's 16. Add to both sides. So x squared plus 8x plus 16 is 16 minus 6. This left side is a completed square of x plus 4. X plus 4 squared equals 16 minus 6 is 10. X plus 4, that squared is 10. Solve it by taking square roots. X plus 4 equals plus or minus root 10. Subtract 4 from both sides. X is negative 4 plus or minus root 10. R squared minus 6r minus 27 equals 0. Now, okay, well, looking ahead, we can see this is actually solvable by factoring, but let's do it this way. First, we transpose the 27, so r squared minus 6r equals 27. Now, this negative 6 we divide by 2 and get negative 3. Square that, you get 9 and add to both sides. R squared minus 6r plus 9 equals 27 plus 9. This on the left, r squared minus 6r plus 9 is the square of r minus 3. This negative 3 is from here. 27 plus 9 is 36. Take square roots. R minus 3 is plus or minus root 36, but that's root 36 is just a number, 6. R minus 3 is plus or minus 6. Add 3 to both sides. R is 3 plus or minus 6. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. 3 plus 6 is 9. So R is negative 3 or 9. Here we have 2r squared minus 4r plus 3 equals 0. Okay, this 2 in front of the r squared is annoying, so we divide through out by 2. Get r squared minus half of 4 is 2. Plus 3 halves is 0. R squared minus 2r plus 3 halves is 0. Okay, move the 3 halves to the other side. R squared minus 2r equals negative 3 halves. Okay, to complete the square, we take half of -2 for a -1. Square that, we get a 1, add 1 to both sides. So r squared minus 2r plus 1 is -3/2 plus 1. This left side is r minus 1 all squared. -3/2 plus 1 is -1/2. So r minus 1, that squared, is -1/2. So r minus 1 is plus or minus root -1/2, which after a bit of radical arithmetic is plus or minus I root 2 over 2. Again, it's I because we're taking the square root of a negative. And we add 1 to both sides. Again, r equals 1 plus or minus I root 2 over 2. Here we have almost the same problem, only instead of a plus 3, we have a minus 3. 2r squared minus 4r minus 3 is 0. Okay, dividing by 2, r squared minus 2r minus 3 halves is 0. Let's see, plus 3 halves. Then we transpose the 3 halves. R squared minus 2r is plus 3 halves. Here it was minus 3 halves. Same completing the square. Take half of -2 is a -1. Square that for a 1, add 1 to both sides. So r squared minus 2r plus 1 is 3 halves plus 1. So r minus 1 all squared equals 5 halves. Take a square root. Well, I skipped a few steps there. You get root 10 over 2. Add 1 to both sides. R equals 1 plus or minus root 10 divided by 2. Is this it? Yes, we're done here. All right.